Hello and welcome to another episode of Raw Chatter. This is a podcast all about keeping it real, telling stories of life as it is, of reinvention, of discovering things that potentially you didn't even know you were capable of doing. And I've got a guest with an incredible story that covers all of those things. Sally and I actually met online through networking, and we had just an incredible first conversation. And I had no hesitation in asking Sally to share her amazing story with you guys. So over to you, Sally. Please tell people who you are, what you do, and what it is about our conversation that made me go, oh my goodness, be a guest on my podcast.
Okay, well, so the answer to that one is I think we both like to talk. And we were just, yep, which was wonderful because we just told all these stories to each other and it was amazing. So it is a real privilege to be here and thank you. So where to begin? Well, I'll tell you what I do now and then how I got to it. So I help business owners become visible online with confidence, showing themselves, but not making themselves vulnerable. And that's called personal brand. So how did I get into personal brand? It is such a convoluted way to get there. So my history,
but a fascinating one.
My history, when I was 18, I went into nursing. As soon as I qualified, I was on a cancer ward. I stayed working with cancer for the whole of my nursing career. I was a ward sister of a big oncology unit, and then I became a nurse specialist. I absolutely loved it. But then I got married and had 3 children. And the job I did was working a lot with children, a lot with people at end of life. And it just didn't sit. I was either giving everything to my children or my patients, or they were all getting half. It just didn't work for me. And my husband's job moved around a lot, so we traveled a lot.
Right. So it makes sense that you had to take a little think about what were you wanting to do with your career. Exactly.
And so then bringing up 3 children, and every marketeer tells me not to say this.
I'm not a marketeer then.
I got a bit bored bringing up 3 children. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. But you know, when you sit at home and you think, oh no, there must be something else I can do.
I think there's a lot of mums who will be nodding away going, actually, I'm so glad Sally said that, because yeah, it can be boring and it can be tedious. It's kind of eat, sleep, homework, repeat.
Nappies. Oh yeah, no, it's just anyway. When I was nursing, I was especially when I was on the oncology ward, I brought in a lot of holistic complementary therapies into the ward. Right. And one of those that I got very interested in was how to feel great when you're out of balance. So you've lost your hair, you've lost a boob, you've lost a leg. And I got very involved in that. And we'd have stylists come in, etc., etc. Long story short, when I was looking for something to do, I thought, oh, I could become a stylist. That would be great. I love clothes, but I'd love to be able to go out and buy clothes for other people and etc., etc. So for 12 years, I became a stylist. Amazing. As a sort of bit job around the children, school runs, etc. Lots of people know how that works. Yeah, it's hard work, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Right.
And then when my youngest, I did this for a while, my youngest went to university, I thought, I don't want to run a styling company, but I want to do something more with it. Right. I don't want to go back into nursing, but I want to use every talent, skill, everything I learned there, and all the lessons of life that I learned during that time as well, which were huge. Yeah. What do I do? Right. And so I worked with a coach, but ended up going, I don't want to do this. I just want to use everything that's in nursing and everything that's in styling, but I don't think there's a job like that out there.
Right. There must be something. Okay, there
must be something I could do. But I ended up giving myself a personal brand. Now, this was 11 years ago.
Wow.
And 11 years ago, personal brand was not heard of in the UK.
No, I'm going to just stop you there, because I think you're going to explain this to us. But when people hear the term brand, they automatically go to marketing, don't they? They automatically go to like slogans and things like the big names like makeup brands and wash up liquid brands and drinks and all of that kind of stuff. This is not what you are talking about, is it?
No, this is not. And the biggest thing I have to do is still even after 11 years, is teach people that brand comes first. Out of brand, you get branding.
Right.
And from branding, you use it to do marketing.
Right.
Most people make the mistake of when they hear branding, whatever, they go to branding, which
Correct.
is website, fonts, colors, name, logo, all those pretty things, all
Yes.
the lovely, good-looking things that are really important, but they come after brand.
Right.
And brand is who you are, what you stand for, how you help, and why you do what you do in
Fantastic.
great depth.
And that's
As I
the
have
key,
learned
isn't it?
over 11 years.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you recognized this so long ago, because for many people, especially people who are maybe fairly new to business, it's seen as something that's new. And what you're saying is, no, it's been around forever. And you were one of the first people who was really making sure that you properly go in depth with this key part of it. Amazing.
Well, we didn't used to, everybody has always had a personal brand,
Yeah.
but we used to be in offices and it was sort of called your personality or your
Right.
quirks. It was, oh, she likes a red cup and she always goes to the loo at 12 o'clock, or she's always late back from lunch. That was your personal brand. It's what everybody recognized you for.
Yeah.
And they didn't always tell you that. And then when you were leaving, they presented you with a red cup. And you say, why are you doing that? And you go, because you always have the red cup.
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
if they wanted a rule, we've given you an extra 10 minutes for lunch because you're always late back. But it was something that somebody else had made of you without you really realizing it. Does that make
Brilliant
sense?
explanation. Yeah, and I think everybody can identify with that, because if you have worked in an office environment, I'm sure people are thinking about people that they know, and without knowing it, you're kind of branding them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's sort of, they're not overly aware of it. Once
Yes.
we went out online, we had to decide what we were going to show about us online.
Yeah.
And that became really difficult
Indeed.
because we didn't, one, know what to show, two, how to show it,
Yeah.
and three, whether people were, whether it was hitting the right place, whether it was landing in the right place for people to see.
Exactly.
And so it was all these things that I felt had to be put together for me to be able, because one thing I love doing is teaching. I've done it forever. I remember when I used to be at school and I had to revise for something, I'd teach my teddies and that carried on. And I remember when I was nursing, I used to teach doctors and they go, why are we coming to you? And I said, because I can make very complicated things very simple and you need to understand how this works. And they go,
Brilliant.
okay, right.
It's in the blood. Yeah.
It was always there. So that's what I love doing. So I thought, how am I going to teach people, number one, what brand is, and number two, how you define your own.
Yeah.
And what so many people do, they come in, they know they want to, let's say they're an HR director, and they come out of corporate, they're so excited because they're so good at their job. Yes. And they really are good at their job, but they come out and they go, okay, been in corporate, I know what I need. I need a website, I need some photos, I need some copy, blah, blah. And they jump in at branding. Right, and the website person has said, this is going to look stunning. And you've gone, yeah, I'm happy with blues, I'm happy with greens, that's great. The copywriter writes some brilliant copy about what HR means. You have some photos taken. And, you've thought of a name, thought of a clever name, and you've discussed it with lots of people. Very clever name, nice tagline. And then you have to fit yourself into all of that.
Yeah.
And somehow it's like you're sort of having to squish and squeeze, and you can only talk about certain things because otherwise it doesn't make sense on your website.
Yeah, it doesn't fit with the really nice sounding professional text that you've got on your website. Yeah.
And when you were in corporate, you were always the maverick one who, was breaking a few of the rules, but all of a sudden you can't break any rules because you've given yourself this website. Wow. And what happens is you come out with your confidence up here and it goes, meow.
Right.
And then you realize that you've got there's so much tech, there's so much this, you haven't got IT up your pocket, you haven't got design up your pocket, you have to do all of it.
And that's a shock to the system, isn't it? Because this thing that you're good at and you were, in your corporate job, suddenly you're having to become multiple things to run your own business. And that was the part that you didn't actually plan for at all.
Not at all. And there's so much to a person. I mean, when I work with somebody, I work with them over a very short period of time because it's really important that you get this sorted. It's a bit like when you're building a house, you know, and you've got this wonderful idea. You want a 5-bedroomed house with a 3 bathrooms and a swimming pool, and you can see it in your head and you think, I know that's what I want. But when we're building houses and we buy some land, the first thing we do is go and get an architect, and perhaps he brings a structural engineer along, and they draw up plans for you and say, well, we've got to do this, we've got to do this, and it's got to face this way, and blah, blah, blah. And then you get the builders in, and they come with their diggers and they start digging. And the first thing they do is dig down to the foundations. And that takes ages. If you've ever watched a high-rise block of flats, forever they seem to be behind these cordons. You can't see anything.
Correct.
And then the next day, there's a whole thing up.
Yeah.
It's because the foundations take so long. The trouble is, when we start a business, we don't get the architect and the structural engineer. We just start building.
Yeah.
And then
usually with the website and the pictures first.
Exactly. We just start building and talking about it. And then one day we go to slam a door and it just doesn't close properly. And the windows shake. And, there's a crack appearing in the wall. And you think, why is this? And then eventually somebody says, oh, your foundations aren't good enough.
Backwards. We do it backwards. And we do so many of these things when it comes to how we function as humans, and bless us, it's not our fault, is it? It's because we see the shiny outside and we don't understand what it takes behind the scenes to create that vision, and we go straight for the vision. It's a bit like people who write a book. I think any book writers, and I'm sure you've probably worked with book writers on their branding, I'm sure they will tell you a very similar story, that people come maybe with half the book written and they're going, I want to write this book, and there's been no work done on who is the reader, what is the message you're trying to get across, have you done anything to find out even if there's a market for this book? And it's like all of the foundational stuff, because we want to go for the quick, bright, shiny stuff, but it's not how it works. Definitely not how it works long term, is it?
No, it's not. And you talking about stories is really applicable, really, because I think as humans, it was the first thing we ever did. I mean, the cave age men drew pictures, didn't they, on the cave walls? And we know that. Over the generations and hundreds of thousands of years, we have literally told stories. And one thing I do think people understand about personal brand is they've got to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
But a lot of people make themselves vulnerable because they will tell you the story, which is a lovely story. It's very good. It's very eloquently written, and they're not doing it for sympathy. They're doing it so you can get to know each other. But at the end of the day, that is very vulnerable. We have to learn how to use all our stories. I mean, I'm 63, so I've got a lot of them going back. But in a day, I can find 5 stories that I can use.
Right.
But it's the way you use your stories. And I think that's incredibly important for people to understand.
It is. And I think this is something that you can't know this stuff if you don't know it. And it's one of those things that it's a skill, isn't it, Sally? It's something that you do need to be taught. And I love what you shared earlier. And I was laughing at myself because when I did exactly the same. I used to teach my dolls, not my teddy bears. I did exactly the same thing. I think if you're a teacher, it is in your blood. And you teaching the doctors to simplify stuff is so important, because there's this idea that as humans, we make this stuff complicated. And if we can come out with the correct language and it sounds good or it reads well in a text, then suddenly people get it. But there's no connection there, is there? No. And the power of using stories in the right way, I think, is something that people just think that they can just do. And they just kind of what I call verbal vomit. But that's not.
I was trying not to say those words, but yes.
but it is. It's literally just like, I'm going to, and I'm not ashamed. I'm just there. Which great, as you say, it's a story, but you don't want all your stories in one go. And you want them to be used in a way that helps the person who is listening or reading to actually have some kind of relatability. There needs to be resonance. There needs to be emotion. And you can't do that if you don't have the skills to know how to.
Yeah. And it's so important. I mean, I often give people the talk of, if you're sitting at the bus stop and nobody's talking to each other, and then the number 6 bus goes flying past, all of a sudden you're talking to each other because that should have stopped here. Should that have stopped here? Yeah, it definitely should have done. Oh, where are you trying to get to? Oh, you could probably use into 30. And you all start talking because all of a sudden you've got something in common.
Yeah.
And when you're doing social media posts and you're talking about yourself and you're putting your personal brand across, it is to show people what you have in common with them and why you will understand them and why they should work with you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get them and they're going to enjoy working with you.
Yeah. And that makes so much sense, as opposed to, here is my website, and you see these wonderful professional pictures and this great eloquent text, as you say, but absolutely no connection, because it's all about me, and I did this, and I'm qualified in that, and I blah blah blah, I. And there's not the connection or even the desire to take the next step, is there?
No. And you won't find anybody in this world who doesn't like listening to a story.
Yeah. True.
I mean, you're the same age as me. I remember I wrote a post a couple of weeks ago, I think, about Listen with Mother. Do you remember Listen with Mother?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was 1:45, and we all used to sit down and you go,
round. Yeah.
Are you sitting comfortably?
That was the first. Yeah. And everybody knows that sentence.
Well, they do if they're our age.
Right. Well, yeah. But also, without knowing, it was the preparation for what is to come. And this is a little bit like the foundations. Rather than just going bang straight into the story, it doesn't have to be a lot, but you have to be in the right headspace, the right frame of mind. You need to be in the right environment to be able to listen and actually take on board what the story is that's being shared.
Yeah. And not as children, but, as adults, and when we're working, it's why the story is being told. What is the point? What's the learning curve? And what can that help you in your life to either prevent to do or to do? Yeah. And that is why it's so important. I mean, the thing is, when you go and work with somebody, there's so many VAs, there's so many HR directors, there's so many designers. Why would you choose one of those? And it's because you get on well when you start chattering, because you go, they get me. And that's usually because they've shared something about themselves that you understand.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And this is where, so when we think about your skills as a cancer nurse, working both with children and at the end of care, and then bringing up your own 3 children, and then realizing that you had this just really strong and powerful love for styling and you were good at it. This is where the skill set that you have got through your other jobs means that you're offering something that not many people can offer.
No. How I do it and why I do it is completely different to anybody else who does it. But that's the same with every single business owner. When we go back over their stories, we will always find the thread of why they did that one, why they did that one, why they did that one, and what it all had in common. Right. Therefore, what makes you completely unique and completely different to be doing what you're doing in a way that will suit the different individuals.
Brilliant. And so I think for people listening, they will want to know, who do you work with? Do you have a specific type of person or type of business that you help? Or does it actually depend on whether you get on and you both decide as individuals that you can work together? How does it work?
Well, that last bit is a must. I think when you have a chat with somebody, if they don't like you, they're not going to work with you. And if I don't like them, I'm not going to go down that road.
It has to work both ways.
That has to work both ways. That is written. But who I work with, no. I mean, I find that probably more heart-centered people come.
Right.
But that's because, I'm empathetic or those sort of things. So they're probably matching that in me. But also, I'm very process-led. I like to get things done. I like it to be a system that just, so I get people who like systems, like that sort of thing. And when I work with people, I always say that I've got ADHD traits, and everything I do, because I work with people for this 22 subjects in a day.
Right.
And people
Which
go, oh,
sounds a lot. Yeah.
It changes subject every half an hour.
Right.
Or even every 20 minutes. So it doesn't get boring. You don't get overwhelmed, and we can take lots of breaks. Brilliant. But also there is a real structure to it. So we do this, and then we do that because of that. Then we do this, we do this, then we do that because of that. Right. You know, so there's a big structure to it as well.
Which I think a lot of business people, and especially if they've come from a corporate background, will like that. It will feel safe. It will feel familiar. It will make sense.
Yes. Yeah. And there's lots of tasks in it, but we get it all done, which is so exciting. Yeah. It's exciting for me because I love people going, oh, yeah, got it. But it keeps that momentum, because if people don't do it that way and they do it the way I'm going to do it myself, find out, do things wrong, learn from that, which is, you know, that's how we learn. I get that. But it takes 18 months to 2 years to define your own personal brand. Wow. Now, that is a lot of time, money, and stress that you've spent, got wrong, worried about. Whereas people who come and go through a structure, you get it done very, you know, you build your foundations and then you fly.
Which is the beauty of it. And as you say, it's a day. So you can go through this. It's not people having to jump on a Zoom call every week for an hour over a set amount of weeks. It's literally, no, let's do this in a day and answer all of these questions, do these tasks, and now we're rocking and rolling. So when they've gone through that day and they've kind of had an epiphany, or a few light bulbs have come on,
they're usually so proud of themselves. Yeah,
I can imagine. And I would imagine that the excitement and the energy is that they now kind of want to go out there and like explode and tell the world.
And so I always offer, there's a month's support after that to implement everything that we've done. And you get some business owners who have been in business a long time. They know exactly how to implement all that work we've done. So they don't need the month. They perhaps just need a call in a week or 2 weeks or whatever. But some people go, wow, this is amazing. What do I do with it?
What do I do with it? Yeah. And so you help them to do the stuff that you know works in the right order for their business. So it's not overwhelming, which is I think it's a brilliant way of working. And this is why when we got talking, I went, I don't know anybody else who works like that, because I do that. That is exactly what I do. Is that it's a whole day to uncover the issues that are keeping people stuck, to see their patterns, to be able to help themselves, to decide on what steps they can take to change things, and then either off they go and implement it, or like you, we offer support. And it's making sure that people don't run before they can walk, isn't it, with this stuff? Because when you are excited, and we've all done this, when you are excited, you just kind of want to tell everybody and just kind of go, blah, this is what I've discovered, and my business is, and it's like, it's too much, and it needs to be. And so what I want to know is, if people wanted, because I was like really thinking about what you shared earlier about stories and how you tell them and how you utilize them. Now, is that a technique that you can teach people within this time frame, or is that something that you do separately?
No, I teach it within that whole day.
Amazing.
Because it's one of those things, once you know, and you think, why didn't I realize that before?
Yeah.
It's not a difficult process. It's not overly complicated. And I literally say to clients, you have now got stories that will last you for the rest of your life. Wow. You never have to go, what on earth am I going to talk about? Because you have it. And you have the ability to, in a day, go, well, that's a story I can use. I can use it tomorrow, a week on Wednesday, or in a year and a half. Doesn't matter.
You've got that. It's almost like a file of facts, or I'm showing my age now, a bank of stories, isn't it? That you can
open the book like that and go, oh, I'll have that one today.
That one. Right. I love it. So what I want to know is, how did you devise the system Right. And how, because to sit down and suddenly go, oh, this, was it trial and error, or was it you kind of looking inwards and going, how did I do this for myself? What was my process? Tell us how did you get to that 22 questions, 22
How
subjects?
did I get to those 22 subjects? A bit of both, really, because a lot of it I knew from the styling. I knew people needed to know their colours. They needed to know their personal colours, that they would then understand what each of their colours meant, and they could use them for the website and their social media.
Right. So
And
you
for
already
their
got that bit
photos.
sorted.
So that was tick box. The same with the style, that was tick box.
Right.
Health, energy, environment, that was a tick box. But then all the mindset stuff. So I work with my 3 PHs. My first PH, very broad PH for anybody who's out there, is philosophy. Okay,
Nice.
that's everything that's in your head. So that's your personality, the way your brain works, your mind blocks, your stories, everything that's in your head. So that's the first one. Second one is physicality, which is literally physically everything about you, how you come over, how you stand, how people perceive you, all those sort of things.
Right.
And then the last PH, and you're going to like this one, is called phenomenology.
Oh, I love it already. Yes. Phenomenology. That's
it's a science.
A made-up word or not, it's a science.
No, it's a science.
It's a real thing. Amazing.
A real thing. And about 3 years ago, I had a young man on LinkedIn who contacted me and he said, I am so happy. He said, you're talking about phenomenology. I'm doing that as a master's degree.
Wow. So tell us all about phenomenology.
Okay, so it is the science of how you put something into something else. So this is the science of how you put you into your business. And the phenomenology, we talk about the phenomenon that is your business. Your business says, because lots of business owners have more than one business, and they network with this one and network with that one, or career, because it can be for your career, it can be for a promotion as well. And so we talk about that, but how do you put that philosophy you have and that physicality you have into that business? Businesses.
Amazing. And so by looking at all of those, the 3 PHs, that's giving you the structure to help somebody to understand themselves at a level that potentially they've never even looked at before.
Never in that combination as well.
Amazing.
Use it. And it never changes. I mean, your personal brand will evolve because tomorrow's another day, next week's another week, another month. But all those things that are in your past are completely pertinent to what you're doing now.
Yeah.
It's just finding out why.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And how.
And how. And this is why I think your whole concept is just so exciting. And I know that there are a number of people who do offer personal branding, but I've never heard somebody explain it so clearly and so simply. And this is why, again, I think we gel, because I'm a great believer in make things simple, because if it's simple, we can see ourselves doing it. If it sounds complicated or hard, we're going to find an unconscious reason to just put it off for later. And this is why what you're saying, not only does it sound simple, it sounds really fun too. Right. And I think that's the beauty of it. So we will obviously share your links because you are on all social media platforms. You're on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. And we'll put all of those links so people, you can go check out what Sally is doing on social media and her brand and how she is talking about herself and her stories and so forth. But tell us, you've also got a really interesting ask, haven't you?
I have. So if anybody has a friend who they're talking to who's saying, I am so fed up in my corporate job, I'm really thinking I want to jump out, I could do this on my own, but I daren't, then before they do any of the money wasting, time wasting, that's the wrong word, but putting all their effort into the things that they shouldn't be doing yet, get them to have a conversation with me. Conversations are always free because I like talking. So people can book chats with me. You can book chat through LinkedIn, is mainly where I live, and my website, which is very easy. It's sallyinkster.com. What
we'll do is we'll put your website links as well, and we'll potentially just put a link that can go straight to your calendar if people know that they want to do that as well. We'll do that. And I think the most important thing that you said there is it's the time. you said it's 18 months to 2 years trying to figure this stuff out for yourself. And it's not just the money that you may throw into somebody else designing a website for you, but the time if you decide you're going to go for it yourself. And if you don't have the answers to the questions of who actually are you, and all of those things that Sally helps you to go through, then the chances are you're going to waste an awful lot of time and money that in today's world are precious commodities. And you're better off just investing in doing things quickly, but in the right way with somebody who can help you to actually get off on the right footing from the get-go.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer to me. So I am going to ask you the question that I always ask my guests, Sally. What is the one thing, after everything that we've shared, what's the one thing that you would like the listener to take away from this episode?
Ooh. Although you think you know yourself very well, and you think you know what makes you unique, actually you probably don't have the words to describe it. And that is a lot of what I do. We come up with the words that you use all the time to describe yourself, because you've got the clarity over yourself. You then need that the person who's listening to you has clarity over that as well. So clarity has to come in 2 stages. Even if you think you're saying the right things because you know that you do this, and you talk about it a lot, if it isn't clear enough, those people won't understand you. They won't get it. So you have to be extra clear on who you are, what you stand for, why you do it, and how you help.
Brilliant. What a phenomenal message to end on, folks. So, as I say, if you are struggling yourself with your business, with your branding, if you're tearing your hair out, trying to do this stuff on your own, then find out what Sally has to offer. A chat is free, as she said, and just talk about what you are struggling with. And I'm sure Sally will be able to help you. Thank you again. I've absolutely loved our conversation. And I am going to ask you folks, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. If you have enjoyed this episode, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, but most importantly, pass it on to somebody who you know will find it super duper useful, because we do this to share the message, not to keep it secret. And I am going to leave you with this, as I always do. We only have one life, as far as we know, and one body. So please look after it, because it is looking after you. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye.